Anonymous. My name is Patrick Jani, the risk manager. I'm here to give you the 2023 risk report. Let's go to the agenda, please. In the agenda, I'll take you through the context, the introduction, the context is of the risk locally, globally, the introduction, the business context, the risk categories, and then the conclusion. Here, it's exactly what I said about, is to show you the context. I'll talk to a few pointers. We have here the risks in terms of the global context, risks on food supply crisis, which you will appreciate, rising inflation, which we all appreciate, energy supply crisis, and then we also have here just information on the country. We have information on inflation, 5.4%, unemployment, 32.6%, and then of course the upcoming general elections, which pose a risk on their own. In the introduction, I will talk to the importance of corporate governance. I will talk to one or two of such points, why it's important. It brings ethical and moral culture, why you need to have corporate governance. It builds robust internal control systems. Most importantly, it establishes an effective risk management process. So it's important to have this corporate governance. Also, in terms of roles of the board, I will also talk to one or two, not all of them. The board's role is to make sure that it formally approves this strategy. It assesses risk management of the entity. As for management, they are responsible for managing risk, putting in resources or means to make sure that risk is managed and reported. For example, hiring the risk manager or putting in a system to manage risk. We will talk to the agency problem. Basically, this is the risk that the agent or the managers will do things in their own interest, contrary to the interest of the shareholders. In this particular case, managers or agents can follow a situation where they themselves benefit to the detriment of the shareholders. And these situations, can present risks in the organization where, there's lack of clarity as to really who needs to do what and how they need to do it. So this risk is the risk that the agents will not do what they are supposed to do, but will do what is in their best interest and not the interest of the organization. Some of the risks that we have here under the current remuneration policy is where there's a misalignment of salary to executives having a higher salary and also long contracts. So in that case, they can make this risk to worsen. In the next slide, we will talk to the business context. This is to make us appreciate the factors that we are currently operating under as a business. We are operating under weak consumer spending due to reduced disposable income for consumers, changing consumer patterns, consumers preferring online opposed to the conventional way of shopping, increased competition, lack of reliable energy supply, which we are all aware of. That being the case, the organization is still, is still intending to achieve the strategic objectives. I will talk to a few of them. The organization is still intent on building value for shareholders through maintaining the share, but we recently had challenges in terms of risks that were happening that can actually affect this value. For example, the risk of the poisoning, the food poisoning scandal. This can lead to bad reputation and reduce the value of the shareholders. The organization still wants to increase customer satisfaction to 95%, but if the organization doesn't have good, proper, risk management, good, proper business information systems, it's going to be difficult to monitor these targets because these targets need information consistently. So it's important that the organization maintains, a good information system so that these objectives are measurable and can be realized. In the next slide, we will talk to the risk categories. Here, for your appreciation, is the risk categories, the risks that are applicable to these categories, and the causes that are leading to these risks happening. Beneath here is the mitigations, or what needs to happen to make sure that these risks are managed. We have strategic, financial, operational, land and regulatory. Some of the risks, I will not go through all of them. Some of the risks, for example, under operational, we have ineffective information system, supply chain disruptions. Under legal and regulatory, we have product safety or social, political, labor instabilities. Some of the causes here can be, incidents or injury associated with the freight generators that we are producing, or one of the causes could be exposure to investing in foreign countries, which we recently did in Namibia. But all that being said, we have mitigations that we can put in place to make sure that these risks are managed, where we partner with other partners out there to make sure that we are not exposed, and then also where we assess the legal requirements before we produce the generators. Lastly, I will take you to the conclusion. Here is just about the attributes of how do you know that you have deployed the right risk management. This is where you see that there's a distributed approach. Everybody knows what risk management is in the organization. You have good information systems that give you good information, because risk management is about decision making. You are able to make decisions on the right time with the right information. Your risk is operational. You can all the controls have an element of risk in their design. And then lastly, how the organization intends to adjust the risk appetite to improve the risk culture. One of the things is to review risk more than once a year, and not once like it has been done before. And another thing is to create proper control environment where the controls are designed such that it's very clear who needs to do what, where, at all levels, and everybody's aware of what they need to do. So basically, this is in a nutshell the risk report for 2023. I will take questions and comments from the floor. Thank you so much.